Hi there. All right. Okay, so let's continue from where we left off. Just give me 1 second. Just open the file. Okay. All right. So, yesterday we talked about how to divide paragraph. Okay. We talked about what each body paragraph consists of. So basically, a good body paragraph should have at least two components, right? Topics, sentence, and supporting sentences, so supporting data. Okay. Um, and if in case you forget, you can always come back to page number 2. Okay, looking at uh, the list here. All right. Body paragraph has three parts: topic, sentence, supports, and conclusion. Conclusions may or may not be needed. All right. Depends on the situation. If your supporting data is quite long, right? You have a lot of points that you need to clarify to explain, then a concluding sentence might be necessary. Yeah. But if your body paragraph doesn't contain that many points and not that much explanation, then maybe concluding sentence is not necessary. Right. Okay. Now, let us now have a look at exercise 3. Okay. We're going to be practicing writing a topic sentence. Okay. Yep. So our goal uh, is to understand how to use different um, style to organize a paragraph. Yeah. So I think yesterday we talked about how to use inductive and deductive deductive and deductive format. Okay, deductive begins with a claim followed by justification. Inductive is the other way around. It starts with a bunch of facts and theory. Okay, and later on you sort of um, try to show how each of those facts is connected together, all right, to arrive at a reasonable conclusion. Right. Okay, so we're going to look at each of the supporting sentences. Okay, we have one, two, three paragraph. Okay, now each paragraph does not yet have a topic sentence, so we have to sort of uh, read through just to understand what it is about, to be able to come up with a good to be able to come up with a good topic sentence. Right. Okay, so let me just demonstrate how this works. So I will do the first example for you. So it says here, when I was in kindergarten, I want to be an astronaut. When I was in junior high school, I wanted to be a doctor. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a teacher. Today, I'm 35 years of age and I am a firefighter. Right. Okay, so basically, um, if you look at it, all right, in order to arrive at a topic sentence, you need to sort of um, do some sort of reverse engineering. Like, okay, basically, what should be as the sentence that begins the paragraph that need to be explained. It's kind of like having the answer to a math question and then try to figure out what could be the questions in order for you to get this answer. Like normally, when you do math, right? You would be given a questions like, okay, what is 5 plus 5? Okay. And then you would say, oh, 5 plus 5 is 10, right? 5 plus 5 is 10. But here you're doing it backward. You start with the answer. You are given 10 as the answer, and then you are asked to figure out what sort of algebraic operations, okay, that involve two numbers that give you 10 as a result. Okay, so you could say, well, there's I think infinite answer for this, right? Because you can have 5 plus 5, that's equal to 10, or you can have 5 times 2 equals to 10. You can also have 20 divide by 2, and the list goes on and on. Okay, so these are the possible um, questions that will lead to the result of 10. Okay. All right. So we're being asked to do something similar to this. We have the answer, but we need to try to go back and think of, what could be the question. Right. Okay. So when I read these statements, it seems that this statement talks about one subject, right? We see a lot of I, I, I again, I, I. There's a lot of I. So it basically talks about one person. Okay, and we also observe some change, right? Okay, there are two kind of there are two different things that change. The first things that change is the obviously it's the jobs. It's like a dream jobs. Okay, astronaut, um, doctor, right? Teacher, and then firefighter. Okay, so the dream jobs keeps changing. And of course, the dream jobs changes with respect to what? With respect to time, right? Okay, with respect to time. Right. So as time change, or in other words, as this person grows older, his expectation for his job changes. Okay? Right. So um, this is easy now when you notice changes of something with regard to something, it becomes quite easy now to come up with a topic sentence. Okay. So for example, I can say, my dream my dream, DREAM. My dream jobs have changed. If you want it to sound formal, you can say with respect to time. Okay, so my dream job has changed with respect to time. that could make a very good topic sentence. Okay, and everything else would just follow. Okay? When I was in kindergarten, I wanted to be an astronaut. Okay, and yeah, and it keeps on going until the very last word. Am a firefighter. It's like so. All right. So, that's it. Now, this is a deductive. It is a deductive style. All right. Now, what about inductive style? Right. How would you do it? So for inductive style, the topic sentence is actually put at the end of the paragraph, not at the beginning anymore. Okay? So you would begins with when I was in kindergarten. Okay? And you keep on writing, blah, blah, blah. Today, I'm 35 and am a firefighter. Today, I'm 35 and am a firefighter. Right. Okay. Now, your topic sentence has to finish the paragraph. In this case, I think it's best to use some sort of transitional word, okay, before you introduce your topic sentence or your claim, all right? So you could say, for example, this suggests or indicate, okay, this suggests or this indicates that what? Uh, as I grew older, my dream job has changed. Okay, so this is inductive. Just give me 1 second, okay? Right. Okay, now I would like you guys to try and do the next one on your own, okay? So, yep, do exactly what I do. Okay, so you have two versions. The first version is your paragraph arranged in deductive style, and the other one, paragraph arranged in inductive style. Okay? All right. Take your time. Okay, how about 5 minutes? Okay, after 5 minutes, we have a look at what you've done. All right. So you guys have any idea? Let's see what you've got. All right, that's nothing yet, but that's okay. So, well, let's see. It says here the Government's Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, reports that employment in child daycare services will grow over 300% in the next decade. In 2002, about 350,000 people worked in child daycare services. By 2012, that number is expected to be about 1,050,000, an increase of more than 300,000 jobs. Right. So, what do you think? Okay, so it is quite clear that the focus here is about child daycare service, right? Talk about child daycare service. Talk about this thing. Okay, so what about it? If you look at the next sentence, it's going to grow by 300% or like three times. Okay, so whatever the number of child daycare services, yeah, let's say we have 1,000 people, right? 1,000 people work in child daycare service, okay, an increase in what 300%, right? We have increased by 300%. What does that mean? It's going to be an increase um uh, by three times, right? By three times. So three times 1,000 is 3,000. Okay, so that means in the futures there's going to be what 4,000s, right? It's going to be 4,000. It's quite huge, actually. That's very, very huge. Okay. But it says in the next decade. Sorry, it's so in 10 years period, all right? In 10 years period, it's going to be an increase of 300%. Yep. And in 2002, about 750,000. Okay. Oh, all right. So basically, that one decade started in 2002, right? It started in 2002 and it's going to finish in 2012. So according to this passage, 2012 is still in the future. Okay. So like in 2002, right? If we have say 1,000 people working in child daycare service in 2012, all right, there will be an increase in that number, right, by 300%. Now, 300% means an increase by three times. So three times 1,000 is 3,000 plus 1,000 is 4,000. Okay, so that means this is how much? This is how much, right? Okay, so from 1,000 to 4,000. That's that's quite huge. Okay, now but that's just an example. according to what the reports say. In 2002, there 750,000 people, right? Okay, and they believe that 2012 there will be what 1050,000, right? Just like that. There will be an increase like that. And that is an increase by 300%. Now let's see if this is actually an increase by 300% or not. Okay, so what we can do is we can divide the final value by the initial value. Okay, so we have 1050 and then 30. We divide that by 750,000. We get 1.4. Okay, now if we multiply that by 100 and then we subtract 100 from it, okay, then we get what? 1.4 times 100, that's 140. And if we minus 40, if we subtract 100 from it, we get what? 40% only. That's not really 300%. We can double check, right? Okay, 750,000. And because it's an increase by 40%, so we multiply that by 1.4. 750,000 multiplying 1.4. That's equal to 105030. So this is not really accurate. 300%. If it's an increase by 300%, the final value would not be that, right? The final value would not be that. Okay. The final value would be let's see. Okay, if we have 750,000, right? So the final value would be multiplied by 1 minus 300 over 100. No, actually plus. Okay. So that would be 4 times 750,000. I forgot one more zero. So 750,000 times 4. That would be 3 million. Yeah, if it increases by 300%, then the final value would be 3 million. It's not 150,000. So I think the math here is wrong, but never mind. It's all right. We are not here to do math. I just want to, double check just to make sure that everything is valid. But this is unfortunately not very valid. All right. But anyway, it still doesn't change the fact that there will be an increase in um, in the number of people who will be employed in this business. Okay, and it's not 300, it's just 40%, but still that's an increase. From 750,000 to 1,050,000. Okay, right, still increasing. The future is promising, but it's not a 300% increase, it's just 40% increase. Okay, so let's cross that off. Let's put 40%. Right. So again, we can notice change in some quantity over time, right? And when we see change in quantity over time, what we can do here is we can um, uh, we can we can sort of look at two variables that have a correlation or relationship. So, what is changing? Um, the number of child's daycare. I mean, the number of people who will be working in child's daycares, right? And if the number of people who will be working in child's daycare increase, what does that suggest? It probably suggests that this industry or this business will have will have bigger demand, right? Will have bigger demand. Okay, because as demand increase, the business will need more manpower. Mm-hmm. So I can, I think one of the possible topic sentence here is uh, okay, the a demand, all right, a demand in child will be greater. It will be greater in the future. Okay. So that's one possible topic that is a demand in child services will be greater in the future. So when we write this as a topic sentence, it raises a little bit of a question as to future, when, right? Okay, and then we can use 2002 and 2012 to explain when, okay? When you say will be greater, how much greater? We can use 40%, okay, to make that kind of clarification. All right. So let's write a paragraph, okay? A demand in child service to be greater in the future. Okay, just to make this more interesting, let's also try to paraphrase. Uh, so we are going to avoid using the exact same phrasing, okay? We're going to try to paraphrase. Demand in child services to be greater in the future. So I would say according to BLS, according to bureaus, BUREAU, that's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Report. There were approximately, right? There were approximately. Thousand people who were employed in this industry. Right. However, nah. In this, I'll probably just say in 10 years' time. In 10 years' time. In parentheses, 2012. It is ex it is expected that the number will increase to 1,050,000. Okay. In fact, I can just use the percentage term, increase by 40% to 1,050,000. Okay. And this is an increase by how much? It's 1,050,000 minus 750,000. Yep. Turns out this number is actually correct, but this is wrong. Okay. It's expected that the number will increase by 40% to, I would say, which means which means 300,000 people will join this, will join the workforce in this industry. All right. Okay, so that's a deductive style. What about inductive style? Let's do this in inductive style. So we're going to begin with some of the facts here. So I'll just make a copy because I don't want to write too much. How do I make a copy? Select tool. Okay, so I'm making a copy here. What? It will not let me shit. Ah, man, never mind. I'll just write it. Okay. According to Bureau. Okay. I'll just make this so that you know that everything that I have written um, so far will be here, okay? All the way to in this industry. So basically this part here has been copy and paste. According to Bureau of Labor Statistics, blah, 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 all the way to in this industry. All right, now this topic sentence will have to be at the end. So I can say, overall, it can be, overall, it can be seen that child services will be in greater demand in the future. Period. Right. That's it. Okay, so you would notice that if I use deductive style, I can begin my sentence with a topic sentence. I don't always need any transitional word. Okay. Like I don't need this is because blah blah blah. I don't need that. Uh I can just follow through with my supporting sentences. Okay. However, if I use inductive style, okay, I will sort of need this transitional word, okay, before I can put my my topic sentence or my main claim. Okay? Right. That's it. Okay, last one for you. Okay, the proposed tax referendum will not reduce taxes for middle income families. In fact, middle income families with children will pay 10% more per year, and families without children will pay 20% more. Further, the referendum actually decreases taxes for the wealthiest tax bracket. In fact, the taxpayers in the highest income bracket will pay 10% less per year if the referendum is passed. All right. Okay, so um, try to figure it out. I can tell you that um, this is about the new tax referendum. Okay, and according to what we have read, people don't have a positive attitude towards this new referendum. Okay, it's to those people it might seem unfair or I don't know. You figure it out. Okay, so I will give you 10 minutes to try to come up with your own topic sentence and rewrite this paragraph in your own words. Okay, I prefer deductive style first. Don't worry if you can't do inductive, right? It's just do it in deductive format and you should be fine. Okay, I'll give you how about 5 minutes? Okay, 5 minutes. All right. So, so what does this mean to you, right? Um, so basically, if you read this paragraph, and you would notice that this tax referendum is causing people with less income to pay more taxes, right? But whereas people who are already, making a lot of money, they're actually paying less, right? Okay. Of course, the 10% of the rich family's income is going to be bigger than the 20% of a low-income family tax or middle-income family tax. But still, um, this new tax referendum, if it is passed as a law, it will make um, rich people pay less tax, but um, poor people, not necessarily poor, but middle income to low income family, pay more taxes. So what does it mean? It's not fair, isn't it? Okay. So that will be a conclusion and also a topic sentence, right? Something to do with unfairness. So I can say um, the proposed tax referendum, the proposed tax referendum, uh, the proposed tax referendum is unfair. Is unfair. Is unfair for middle to low income families. The proposed tax referendum is unfair for middle to low income family. Why? This is because it will make middle income families with children pay 10% more taxes every year. So before that, I would say, and families Negative income. Let's say with children, not will children. More taxes and family. Without pay 20% more taxes. Rich, uh, high income, I would say high income family. High income families, on the other hand, will pay 10% less taxes. Mhm. If the referendum is passed as a law. Right. So this is the deductive style. The proposed tax referendum is unfair for middle to low income family. This is because it will make middle income families with children pay 10% more taxes, and families without children pay 20% more taxes. High income families, on the other hand, will pay 10% less taxes if the referendum is passed as a law. All right, so let's take a 10 minutes break and then we'll come back to have some more fun, hopefully. See you soon. Mhm. All right. Okay, guys, let's start a new topic. So the new topic here will be about support. Okay. So let's just recap for a little bit. Okay. So in this chapter, we did talk about the structure of a supporting paragraph. You know what body paragraph consists of. What is a topic sentence, and different way to organize the body paragraph. Right? We have deductive, inductive. Okay. The next thing we're going to be talking about is how to write supporting sentences. Okay, so the goal of support or supporting sentences is to elaborate upon your topic sentence or your claim of a paragraph. So basically, adding more information, adding some explanation to help your reader to understand the point that you try to get across, and to, of course, convince them to accept your claim or your point. Okay, there are four different kinds of support. Basically, we have facts. We use facts as supports, reasoning, description and anecdotes, and expert opinion and analysis. Okay, so these are support, and they are equally important. Right? It doesn't mean one is better than the other. So you just need to use your own judgment to decide which type of support works best for a particular situation. Okay, but the type of support that we'll be focusing on right now is facts. Okay, so what exactly is facts? Okay, so facts is uh, objective. Okay, it's an objective statement. All right. Um, so you might wonder what is objective statement? Okay, so an objective statement is any statement. All right, it's any statement. Um, uh, or you can call it a sentence, right? Because statement and sentence are the same thing, right? Statement must be made up of a sentence, and sentence is subject and verb. So statement and sentence are the same thing. Okay. Now, when we read a statement, for example, um, John is handsome, for example. John is handsome. Okay. Now, is that always true? John is handsome. Well, this adjective here, right, to decide or to judge whether somebody is handsome, we don't really have a standard rules, do we? Right? We can't use any number. We can't quantify handsomeness, right? We can't. So this is a subjective statement because it cannot be quantified, and when it cannot be quantified, we cannot develop rules. Okay, it's not like, hey, I failed the test, I passed the test. If I say John passed his test, this can be an objective statement because it can be proven, it can be quantified. For example, if in order to pass any test, you need at least 50%. Okay, so if John received 50%, then he passed the test. It's more objective. So a subjective statement obviously will contain certain modifier or like adjective or adverbs that cannot be quantified. Okay, it really depends on the individual. Okay, so a subjective statement is also arbitrary. It really depends on um, people's opinion. So John is handsome, definitely a subjective. What about John is tall? Again, I think this is subjective, unless we are in we have some sort of rules to decide whether how do we judge if somebody is tall, right? So we can look at the height. If somebody ex if somebody's height is more than, say, 6 feet, 6 feet is equal to 180 centimeters, right? If somebody's height is above 6 feet, then he is tall. Now, in that case, this statement can be objective, but if we don't have any rules, then it's just subjective. Because, in your families, the tallest person might be your father, and your father might be only 175 centimeters tall. Right, but because he's the tallest person in the family, so you call him a tall guy, right? But outside of your family, right, when you walk in a department store and you bump into people who are above 175, people who are about 180, 185, 2 meters tall, all right, then your dad isn't tall relative to those people, right? He's only tall when he's in his house. Outside, he's not. Okay, so this is subjective. So subjective statement obviously cannot be proven. Okay, it's the validity of the statement vary from one person to another. But it doesn't mean subjective statement cannot be used at all in support. It can, but it just has to come from a reliable source or a source that are respectable. But we worry about that later. Okay. Right now we talk about facts. So facts are objective statements. Okay, it can be proven. Let's have a look at example of facts. Okay, so facts can take the form of statistics. Statistics can be fact. Can take the form of definition, recorded statement, and observation. Okay, statistics might be uh, probably the most popular, the most commonly used facts. Okay, basically numbers. Okay, numbers are usually considered to be good facts because it can be measured, it can be proven. Okay, if I say John is 6 meters tall, this is clearly a fact, right? But John is tall, John is short. Those statements are not fact, right? It can vary, it can change. The validity can change. But if I say John is 6 feet tall, here's it's a fact. It can be proven. And this doesn't change from one person to another. Okay? It doesn't matter where this statement comes from. If it comes from me, John's 6 feet tall. If it's come from you, John's 6 feet tall. How do we know? We can measure it. We can use a tape measure, right? Okay. um, if I say uh, Thailand, Thailand is a hot country. According to you, you know this is true, but is it subjective or objective? It is a fact or is it not a fact? Answer it is subjective and not a fact. Okay? But hey, wait a minute. If you ask anyone, they will say Thailand is hot. You ask a local, Thailand's hot. But it's still subjective because there might be people who don't think Thailand's hot. Those who live in a place that are hotter than Thailand, like those who live in Sahara Desert, those who live in Australia, in the center of Australia, it's way hotter than Thailand, right? The temperatures can go up to 40 degrees Celsius during summer. In Australia, in some part of Australia, it's blazing hot, burning hot. So yeah, not everyone would say that Thailand is hot. Those who live in warmer climate, right, who experience extremely high temperatures in summer, will not say no. It's not. It's quite okay. It's quite warm, right? Okay, so this is subjective. But if I say, well, Thailand has a tropical climate. Yeah, that that's that's that is a fact, right? Thailand has a tropical climate. Okay, now this one here is a fact. Tropical climate. It's in the Tropic of Cancer, isn't it? Capricorn or Cancer, you have to look it up, right? You can, if I say Thailand is 25 degree above the equator. Is it 24? Not quite sure. Um, let's check. How about we use let's use this. Uh, what is the GPS coordinate of Yala? This the deep south. So Yala is 6.5 degree north, 101.2 degree east. Really? Is that right? Okay. So, hmm. So it's about 6.5. What about Bangkok? If I remember correctly, I think Bangkok is 13. Yep, 13. All right. So, I mean, if you look at the map, right, the map of Thailand, you will see that it is above the equator. But how many degrees above the equator? I'm not so sure. We have to what on earth don't allow? Okay. Right. So this is Thailand, isn't it? And the lowest part of Thailand is, I think, Yala, isn't it? Yala. Okay. Southern Thailand, right? And the equator is right here. You see the dash line? Right, the dash line is across Singapore. So Singapore, my God, is right at the dash line, the equator, right? So Thailand is above the equator. And if we take Yala as a reference, then it is about 6 degrees above the equator, like what we just found, right? 6 degree above the equator. We can ask ChatGPT just to double check. Is Yala 6 degree above the equator? Hmm. 5.6 north of the equator. Okay, 5.6, not 6. How about if I say, is Yala 5.6? This one needs to be very precise. Is Yala 5.6 degree, not, can I just say above? Because it's in the north, right? What happened? It's gone. North of the equator. It's gone. Wow. The AI is gone. Let's ask ChatGPT. Is Yala 6 degree above, or say north of the equator. Yala. Yes, Yala is a town in Kenya. What? No, 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 not Kenya. No, no, no. Really? If it is, then it's a big coincidence. So we have both Yala. Is there Yala in Kenya as well? No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about the town in southern Thailand. All right, I'm not talking about Yala in Kenya. Thank you for your clarification. Yala in Thailand is located at approximately 6.54. Really? 6.54. That's good. Okay, so 6.54 north latitude. So yes, like it's 6 degree north of the equator. But this is here's another fact I didn't know. It's quite interesting. Is there a town called Yala in Kenya? Let's ask. Is there really a town named Yala in Kenya? And is it at the same latitude as Thailand? Okay. Yes, let's break it down clearly. Oh my God. This is something new. Yes, there is a town called Yala in Western Kenya, located in Saya country. Saya country. I don't know that. Near Lake Victoria region, it's a small market town known for being close to the river Yala and Yala Swamp. It's a real place, not to be confused with the larger Yala in Thailand. What is the latitude of Yala, Kenya versus Yala, Thailand? In Kenya, it's 0.09 north. Oh, okay, so it's not at the same latitude. Thank you. But why is it that? Oh, it didn't say six. All right, look, I didn't read the calculate. Say Yala is a town in Kenya. It's located just slightly north of the equator, but not as far as six. So yeah, okay, there was a town named Yala in Kenya, but it's not 6 degree above the equator. It's already said that. All right, cool. Right. Yep. Yeah, I got it. Not the same latitude. So we are way above the equator, but Yala is like 0.9 only, 0.09. So we can say it's right at the equator, so it must be searing hot. Very, very hot. Okay, so people from, Yala in Kenya will not say Thailand is hot. We're at the equator. We are way, way hotter. Let's have a look at the average temperatures in Kenya, Yala. I'm just so curious to know. Okay, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT what is the average uh, temperatures. I would say during summer in Kenya, Yala, right? Kenya, Yala. 76? What is that in degree or Fahrenheit? Daytime. Um, I want to know summer. There's no way that the temperature reaches 83. No way. So I think this is in Fahrenheit. August midwinter in Kenya, average temperatures, blah blah blah. It's not that hot. Okay, summary. June, August, final takeaway. Okay, when does summer begin in Yala, Kenya? In Yala, Kenya, which is very close to the equator, the concept of summer, as understood, don't really apply the same way. All right. Okay, instead, the climate is characterized by wet and dry seasons, not four distinct seasons, like spring, summer, autumn. Okay, fair enough. Because they're so close to the equator, they probably don't have a lot of seasons. So, okay, what is the highest temperatures there? Okay. The highest temperatures record in recent years reached 39 degrees Celsius in December and 38. Hmm. Yeah, it's quite high. Right. What about in Thailand? What about Thailand? What about how about Yala in Thailand? What? 33? 39? Hmm. Hmm. So it's about the same, despite us being slightly above the equator. All right, that's good to know. Let's carry on. Okay, so I hope you guys understand now the difference between subjective and objective statement. Okay, anything that is subjective is not a fact. Everything that is objective is a fact, and it can take many forms. Statistics, definitions, recorded statement, observation. If it can be proven, it is a fact. Right. Okay, the sun rises on the east, even though it's not a number, there's no number in it, but it can be proven. Okay, it can be observed. It's still a fact. The earth orbit around itself, it is a fact, right? The earth orbit around the sun is a fact. It can be proven. Okay, right. Let us now have a look at some of the common facts about coffee consumption. Okay, so let me tell you something. So from now on, every time we look at different types of facts, it will be related to coffee consumption. Okay, so here, let's let's say we are drafting an essay about coffee consumption. So here are some facts about coffee. So let's see what they are. So first fact, average American drinks about 416 8-ounce cups of coffee in 2009. It is a fact. It can be proven. Okay, this is probably a survey, and they somebody went out there to collect data, and this is what they found. So that's in each American that would drink 416 cups, but not in one day, of course. They do it over a span of 1 year. Okay, so in 1 year, they drink 416, and that was recorded in 2009. And the size of the cup that they use is 8 ounce, so it's not a big cup. All right. Next, 9 studies have shown that more than 193,000 people, those who drank more than 6 or 7 cups daily, were 35% less likely to have type 2 diabetes than people who drank fewer than 2 cups daily, regardless of sex, weight, or geographic location. So, what does that mean? Um, that means if you drink coffee daily, you will be safe from type 2 diabetes. Okay? Um, this this study says if you drink more than 6 or 7 cups every day, your risk of developing type 2 diabetes will drop by 35%. And this will apply to anyone. Doesn't matter if they're male or female, how much they weigh, or where they are. Quite interesting, isn't it? Next, minerals such as magnesium and chromium found in coffee helps the body to use the hormone insulin to control blood sugar. So here is another interesting fact about coffee consumption. It contains minerals, magnesium and chromium, and those minerals can help the body to use the hormone insulin more effectively to control blood sugar. All right, interesting facts indeed. Next, the chemicals adenosine, right? When binding to our adenosine receptor, so our adenosine receptor is just a neuron receiver in our body. It receives signals, right? But when this chemical thing is attached to the adenosine receptor, it will cause drowsiness because it will slow down the nerve cells activity, right? Next, to a nerve cell, caffeine looks like adenosine. Caffeine therefore binds to the adenosine receptor. But instead of slowing down the cell's activity, it speeds up the cell's activities by causing adrenal glands to produce adrenaline, which causes your pupil to dilate and your heart to beat faster. Right. Okay, so um, another interesting fact, right? To a nerve cell, caffeine it looks just like adenosine, right? Um, and when it binds to the adenosine receptor, it will slow down the nerve cell's activity. Okay? No, it's not slowing down. Instead of slowing down, it speeds up. It speeds up the cell activity. It causes the adrenal gland to release adrenaline, which is the chemicals that will cause your pupils to open up and your heart to beat faster. All right, so those are facts regarding coffee consumption. We will use some of these facts in our writing, okay, to convince people to accept our claim. But what is our claim? We don't know yet. All right, we just go around and explore some of the facts regarding this. Okay. Now, exercise 4. I like to please go online and find at least 4 pieces of facts about international tourism in Thailand. Okay, and just write down all those facts. Please do this because at the end of this chapter, we're going to use this information that you've found from doing exercise to do your writing. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. Okay, just try and go online and find some facts about international tourism in Thailand. All right. All right. So, if I've got anything, let's do it together if you can't or you don't feel like doing it by yourself. So maybe I can just ask Google, who, 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 hmm, where do most, where do most of the inter, no, let me use a more formal tone. Makes up, who makes up the majority? Who makes up the majority of international tourists in Thailand? And like I expected, China has consistently been a major source of tourists. Okay. So the top nationalities visiting Thailand are primarily from China and Malaysia. All right. I can basically copy that phrase, but I have to make sure that I can make a reference. So ChatGPT seems to have given me some reference like this one here. Let's just go and have a look. So this is thailand.co.th. Okay, and yep, top 10 nationalities traveling to Thailand in this month were Malaysia, 367,000. And how old is this? This is in 2023, so only 2 years ago. And this source.go.th, is this some sort of, it's a government public relation department. Okay, so should be reliable enough. Should be reliable enough indeed. Okay. Right, Thai PRD. Okay, so it's actually knows how to choose information. Pretty good. All right, so I'm going to make just a paraphrase, right? Top nationalities visiting Thailand are primarily from China and Malaysia. So I will say the majority, the majority of international tourists. The majority of international tourists in Thailand are from China and Malaysia. That might be, this fact might come in handy. Right. Let's ask some other questions. Okay. Has Thailand been attracting more tourists, international tourists, of course, over the past maybe 5 years? Yeah, 5 years. Okay. The AI said yes, Thailand international tourism has generally been increasing over the past 5 years, but with a significant dip during COVID-19. And where did you get this information? Tourism in Thailand Wikipedia. Nope, we can't use Wikipedia because we don't know who wrote the article. What about Tourism Authority? That is good. That's a good one. Facebook, no. Why don't we use Facebook? Actually, it depends on how you use the information from Facebook. If it is not, if it's you not using it to provide support to something, that's okay. Yeah. Or if you use it as a claim, that's okay. But if you use it as a backup or as a supporting statement, it's not recommended because the person who wrote this might be lying. Okay, they might be doing this for, for marketing reasons, and no one would care to correct the person who wrote it, right? Okay, unlike um, information from organization like TAT, right, Tourism Authority of Thailand. The Before they post anything on their website, it has to be scrutinized. It's going to be some people who are going to read and make sure that information is valid and up to date. Okay, so let's just go in here and have a look see. Facebook, but it's from the National Bureau, so I think it's okay. Has reported strong international tourism growth. Okay. Yep. I'll say that's okay because it's the Facebook of an organization. What about this graph? How many people visited Thailand every year? This comes from Road Genius. So what is Road Genius? We don't know what Road Genius is, but does it have some sort of author for this? Who wrote this? Do we have a name? Reference and blah, 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 blah. We don't have a name, so we don't know whether this is reliable because we don't know who wrote this, unfortunately. So this is probably not so reliable. Let's try Bangkok Post. That's not bad. Over the past 3 years, Thai tourism has been struggling to regain the peak when it's reached prior to the pandemic, whilst neighboring countries, Malaysia and Vietnam, have already surpassed their performance in 2019, recording 37 million and 17 million tourist arrivals, respectively. In the closest opportunity occur, Thailand welcomed 35.5 million foreign tourists, an increase of 26 year on year. Okay. Oh, this is good. Inbound tourists from 2023, 2025, looking good. So it looks like there's a dip. It's quite a huge fall from 2019 to 2020. But this is good. All right, but well, if you sort of look at the difference between 2019 5 years ago, that would be 2020s, right? We don't have to go all the way to 2019 because 2025 minus 5, that's 2020. So if you look at the change in the number of tourists from 2020, it's actually on an uptrend. Okay, there is a fall, however, in 2021, as you can see, the number of what is in the number of the tourists uh, going down from 6.69 million to 510,767. But after 2021, the number just recover and it is on the rise again. All right, going forward. So this is good piece of information. So I can say with confidence that the number of inbound tourists, I would say Thailand inbound tourists, the number of Thailand inbound tourists dipped from what year was it? From 2020 to 2021. But quickly recover to rise significantly. To rise significantly. I can just add some number. Should I add number 6.69? 510767. Dip from 6.69 million. 6.69 million people in 2022 35.4. To 35.4 million people in 2021. No, it's not. It's not dipping. 510767. 510767 people. Okay. Dip from 6.7. Before it recover. Okay, so it goes back to where it used to be in 2022 and recover. In 2022. It recovered and continue to rise significantly. until 2024. That's it. Now, I think this is enough for the facts, okay? Now, if you guys have more, feel free to add. Anyway, let's move on to the next type of support known as reasons. But if you look at the time, it's about 4:09. It's time to take another 10 minutes break. And then we come back to talk a little bit more about how to use reasons as your support. Okay, right. Let's carry on. For many essays, now we are talking about reason, okay? For many essays, the best way to support your thesis is to explain why you think the way you do. That explanation will lay out your reasons. Some will be facts, others will be opinion. The key to this type of support is logic. Your reasons must be based on evidence or good common sense. They must be logical. They can't simply be stated with an expectation that the audience will believe them. Now, let's say we want to write a paragraph to support our thesis. We should begin to make coffee part of our diet. For support, the following reasons could be used. Coffee helps us to stay awake. Coffee is good for our health. Okay, so every time we use this word because, okay? All right, every time we use this term, because, and something similar, we connect two sentences together, okay? This sentence here becomes the reasons. This sentence here becomes a claim. It doesn't always have to be in sentence format, of course. I mean, if you go back to English too, we know that reasons could be connect or can be linked to claim by many different methods. For example, if you use because of, that is just followed by a noun and not a sentence, right? And this now is what? Is the reasons. Okay? So basically, that's what it is. Um, if I say, for example, Tom is smart because let me just use a different. If I say Tom should be recruited. Recruited to join our team. If you say because he is smart, well, this is a reason, of course. But would everyone agree that Tom is smart? Well, that depends. Do we have any evidence to show that he's smart? Not really, right? Smart is not easy to measure. But if we use different reasons, say Tom should join our team because he meets the qualification requirement, right, as an engineer. All right. Now, both are reasons. Both are reason. But the one that will stand out would be the second one, not because he's smart, because this is a reason, but it is subjective. This is more objective. It's good to be smart, but is he really smart? Based on whose standard? How do you know if he's smart? Okay. But if it meets the requirement, then yes. So as a job recruiter, if you're recruiting someone, you can't you can't base your decision on your judgment alone. Not because you think he's smart. Just because you think he's smart, it doesn't mean he should be recruited. If the job description say um, uh, a person who assumed this position has to do da 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 da, and in order to assume this position, he needs to be above 20 years of age, male, and with minimum qualification of bachelor degree, then those are the conditions that have to be met. Okay, before we talk more about his personality and stuff like that. Okay. So anything could be a reason. Subjective statement could serve as a reason. Objective statement could serve as a reason. But um, um, but the main thing is how could you elaborate upon that reason? Now, right now, if we compare between these two reasons, right, he is smart and he meets the qualification requirement. You will see that the first one is kind of weak, right? Because how do we know? How do we how do we determine how smart he is? How do we know if he's very smart, right? But the second one is easy, right? Okay, but still, it depends on your logic, right? It depends on how you build upon your reason. You need to add more sentences to elaborate upon your reasons. Okay. Now, it's okay for you to begin with something subjective like John is smart, but if you can prove it, all right, you have a good reasoning technique. For example, if you introduce your theory for judging somebody intelligence like IQ score, right? If you introduce that by saying that a person's intelligence can be measured by using intelligent quotient or IQ. A person whose IQ is above 100 is considered to be quite intelligent and should be able to uh, perform very well as an engineer or whatever, right? And this guy, Tom, his recent IQ test, um, which was taken in 2024, shows that his IQ is about 120. So based on this standard, um, Tom is quite an intelligent person, and she should be able to learn things quickly. Yeah. Okay, now this becomes a good support because you have good logic. All right. Okay. Now let's have a look at our claim here. Okay. So now we have a claim about the coffee consumption. So this is going to be our claim right now. This is going to be our claim. I want to write right here. This is our claim. From now on, this is our claim. Okay. And some of the support that we have here, I mean, reason that we have here is coffee help us to stay awake. Coffee is good for our health. So those two are okay reasons. They are okay, but they don't have any weight to it yet. Right? It's just once a couple of sentences, it's not strong enough. I mean, you can't convince somebody to drink coffee just by telling them that, look, coffee can help you to stay awake and coffee is good for your health. It's not enough, right? You need more explanation. So we need to add some explanation. Okay. We can attach some facts from the other page. Okay. Just to make this more convincing. Right. Okay. So right now I only have two reasons. They're good, but they don't have the weight to it. right? They need to be elaborated upon a little more. Okay. Now, let us do exercise 5. Think of at least 2 reasons why there should be an improvement in resources, human resource in the tourism service sector. All right, I'll give you maybe 3 minutes to think about it, and then I'll walk you through if you can't find any. All right. Describe your experience as a customer regarding, sorry. Okay. Think of at least 2 reasons why there should be an improvement in human resource in the tourism service sector. All right, so if you ask me, why should there be improvement in human resource in the tourism service sector, I would say the first reason, oops, hmm, the improvement, this could be considered a training, right? Increasing people's skill. Yeah. Okay, so first, uh, people, mm, it increase, it increases, it increases the value. It increases the value of the service provider. Okay, and number two, it could lead to repeated purchase and customer retention. All right, so those might be the reasons why you want to have a constant improvement in human resource. Now let's have a look at the description and anecdotes. So what are they? So description and anecdotes are you can call it short story, okay? And basically, it is a type of support that is 100% subjective. Now you might wonder if it is 100% subjective, then why should it be used as support at all? It is because sometimes you don't always want your support to when you're writing support, it's not always about justification. It's not always about um, giving people reasons why they should accept your claim. It's not always about that, right? Sometimes it's about relating your audience to the subject of discussion. If you're talking about something that might be unfamiliar to your audience, doesn't matter what kind of theory you use, doesn't matter how long the calculation you have to prove your point. All right, doesn't matter how many research papers you referring to. Okay, you're not going to convince that person because he doesn't quite understand the subject matter, right? So, if you're convincing somebody who is not at the same level as you are, okay, you have to make your justification a little bit more friendly to that person. Short story and anecdotes can do a very good job of helping of making your supports more relatable to your audience. Okay, now let's have a look at my example here. So again, my goal is to explain it. My goal is to convince people that they should make coffee part of their diet. Okay, now here's my anecdote. My dad is a regular coffee drinker. My dad is a regular coffee drinker. Now, how do I change the color? My dad is a regular coffee drinker, but unlike most people today, my dad is old-fashioned and he only drinks black coffee. Of course, it's often light sugar in his drink. My father is over 75 years of age, but he's healthy. He doesn't have diabetes and has no problem working late at night. So for those people who don't quite drink coffee, right, who don't understand coffee, this paragraph will help them to be able to relate to, okay, before we before we show them things like uh, drinking coffee 4 or 6 cups a day will help to prevent type 2 diabetes, something like that. So this information is a little bit more friendly. Okay. Now, exercise 6, describe your experience as a customer regarding how you were treated by a staff member at a place you visited. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes to think about how you're going to uh, tell a short story about your experience, maybe at a hotel or a restaurant that you visited a week ago, when you during your holidays, public holidays. Okay. Yeah. 3 minutes. And after that, feel free to share. If you don't want to write, you can just open your microphone and talk to me. I'll be very happy to listen to you. All right. So you guys got anything? Nope, not really. Never mind. Okay. So I might be talking about my visit to our hotel in Pattaya. No, it's not. It's not really Pattaya. It's Bangsan, right? It's before Chonburi, before Pattaya. So it's a short story, right? So I would say I like to talk about my visit. I like to talk about my visit to. I think that's what the. Not sure. Not sure what the name is. I'll just call it ABC, okay? ABC Hotel in Bangsan. All right, I like to talk about my visit to ABC Hotel in Bangsan. Um, I was quite impressed with how the hotel staff member were very quick to greet me. Even when I was still in my car, right? I was quite impressed with how the hotel staff members were very quick to greet me, even when I was still in my car. They were quite handy as they helped me to carry my luggage, my luggages, and they helped me my luggages to my hotel room. Okay. When I asked them for a direction to a restaurant I want to visit. They immediately look it up for me. They immediately look it up for me. Which shows a very strong service mind. All right. Okay, so that's it for a short story. Okay. All right. Moving on to our expert opinion and analysis. Okay, so this type of support is pretty much what you do when you are writing your assignment and your dissertation. When you're doing your dissertation, there is a part of your dissertation called literature review. And the purpose of literature review is to show that you have read all the research paper regarding your field, okay? Some say previous studies, right? You have checked out all the previous studies. Okay, so once you have explore all the previous studies, and you would know where the knowledge gap is. Okay, because every study, right? Every research finding, the purpose of the other is to prove something or to discover something. If you imagine the area of study to be uh, like have you ever received a coupon where you have to use a coin just to scrape off a layer of a layer of some plastic that is covering the passcode? Yeah, so literature review is pretty much similar to that, right? um, the more previous studies you have read, the more the less the dark area. Okay, the less the dark area, but there's still going to be some dark area. Okay, there's still going to be some dark area. So you what you want to locate is you want to find where the dark area is, so that you can do your own scrapping. All right. Um, so when you writing your literature review, okay, um, sometimes you have to make some claims, okay, um, but to back up all those claims, you will need to refer to research papers. Yeah, basically, every time you making a claim, you're making an assertion, it has to be backed up by uh, by some study, you know. Now, if I'm confusing you with my example, you can think of expert opinion uh, as a situation at a courtroom. Imagine courtroom, okay? Um, imagine a courtroom. When somebody is committing a crime, right? maybe he murders someone, but there's no evidence or witnesses at the incident. But he, for some reasons, got arrested for being a suspect of the crime. So he is brought to a court along with the victims. Okay, and let's say it's the victim's attorney. The victim's attorney will try to win the lawsuit for his clients, right? The victims, right? Okay, so because they were not able to obtain any evidence or witness at the incident. They have to call what we call an expert witness, right? To come to the court to share his opinion. So expert witnesses are not witnesses who are present at the crime scene. They were not there when the crime was committed. But because they know so much about the kind of murder, all right, or says the murder was committed with a person stabbing a victim 3 times. Okay, right. Um, but no one was there, and the knife was not there either. No one could find it. Um, maybe if a witness is an expert of a blood splash, then his knowledge will be a great contribution. All right, he will be able to, sort of uh, give an idea about how the blood splash would look like if it was done by stabbing someone. Okay, because the blood splash as a result of stabbing might be different from a blood splash as a result of a gunshot, right? So his opinions will be useful in that regard. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you have a look at our example here, again, we're still focusing on coffee consumptions, right? And let's say here is one sentence, uh, information from expert opinion. People who drink 4 to 6 cups of coffee a day can reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 28%. Now, this might be a very, if you don't know who wrote this, the value of this statement is probably zero. Okay. But if you know who that statement comes from, Frank Hu, for example, and who is Frank Hu? Frank Hu is a professor, right? He's a professor working at the University of New York. Okay. And so he's an expert right here. Okay. So if we know from whom this information came, um, this statement will serve as a very good support to to the claim that I'm trying to make. In this case, the assertion that I make is that we should drink um, uh, coffee every day, right? Okay, and if I want to convince people to drink coffee every day, this is going to be the statement that I use. So I can say, we should drink coffee every day because according to Frank Ho, okay, I'm quoting him, Frank Ho, because according to Frank Ho, a nutritionist, people who drink 4 to 6 cups of coffee a day will have less risk of developing type 2 diabetes. All right, I think this is about time we have for today. I'm sorry if I make this class a little boring to you guys. Um, next sessions, we will have one more exercise to do, and after this, we're going to be doing some serious paragraph writing. Okay, that might excite you a little more, hopefully. Okay, so until next time, take care. See you later.